Ke into kokubana i-president yethu siye ke thina apha kuMvezo Tata uNxamalala singabantu abalambayo, singabantu abahluthayo. Kukho into ethi ke apha kwaXhosa xa kufika umzali ekhayeni akukhathaliseki noba uze ngaphethanga nto, umntana uvela nje njengoba ebona umzali. Siyavuya ke ngokuba uphinde weza. Ndibulele bonke ke abantu abakhoyo kuthiwa mandiphele kuloo ndawo.
Sibonga kakhulu kuMamulolo. Ngoku uMamulolo nje bethetha ndiyathwatshini. We are winding off the Women's Month and bekunyanzelekile kuchalaza umuntu ongumama apha suka. Nditsho noNxamalala afuneka abe uyamkele loo nto kufanele kuthetha umama kuqala. Yes, samkelwe. But kutheni silapha? Why are we here? I think it's important that you want to know. You might have received an invitation and associated it with the name Nelson Mandela, but exactly why are you here? Sizawuphakamisa ke ngoku uNkosi uMandla Mandela kodwa unento yakhe ayivayo omama bomnqunqo phangemva mababe besondela bazophakamisa inkosi yendawo ukwenzela uba izosazisa injongo yosuku. Babelikhona kitshana nhliziyo uthi ngeli xesha ulinde abazawucula ube uculela aba bezawuzocula. Ikhona loo nto mos. Ukuqaphele pha eshowini noMasikhandi xa badlalayo baqala le gitara babe beyiseta. Ingathi iqala ishow check 1 2 check 1 2. Awu zathi intombi ezinkulu. Zathi intombi ezinkulu madoda sawunikela kuzo. Yeah, ngathi kuzaba mnandi apha. Yeah. Amadoda asavakalelwa nakho bhesi pha bafoni. Yona lindlela. Yona lindlela. Yona lindlela.
Enyweba inkulu kangaka sifumanayo silolu sapho likaMandela kwelikhaya lakulonkosi uDalbhunga asidibana ngelinye lamaduna elikhaya unkosi uZwelinzima izawucela sime ngenyawo kwabanelungelo lokhahlela kule nkosi singayo namhlanje yakowethu. Xolweni bantwana bahle. Umcimbi singawo namhlanje ungale nkosi indizalayo sizawutsho kube kathathu Azwelinzima. 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 Ela sihlale. His Excellency President Zuma, the Honorable Minister of Basic Education, and all that represent our national government, as well as our Honorable Premier, Ubao Muswale, of the Eastern Cape, the home of legends, with all the MECs that are with us here today, Umpati Nkubo, MEC Makupula, Basic Education, and all officials of our provincial government, to our local municipality, both the OR Tambo District Municipality, as well as our King Sabata Dalinjebo Municipality, our executive mayors, and all councillors present here today. Let me also take this time to pass greetings to Dr. Chung, who's leading the Chung Foundation, together with his lovely daughter, Jacqueline Chung, who have been the funders of this landmark achievement of our school. Let me also welcome and take note of the Chinese embassy that is with us here today, as led by the acting ambassador in the absence of the ambassador who is currently in China. Welcome all the traditional leaders, as led by the Provincial House of Traditional Leaders, Chairperson Nkosi Ngangomhlaba, together with the family of the Matanzimas that have graced this occasion, our royal family, the Mtikakas, that are present within us. Take an opportunity to recognize Umfana Nkosi Tumbumuzi, whom I had the privilege to grow up under his wings in Swaziland. Umfana Nkosi, we are really honored to have you here in our midst. But with a real exception, to welcome the Makgatho family, whom my father is named after, Sefako Mapocho Makgatho. Also, in their absence, the Lewanika family, who have sent their apologies and wanted to be here with us. And last but not least, my family, Umzika Mandela. As I say, my lovely sister is here today, Nandi Mandela, accompanied by our younger sister Uzinhle. Honorable guests, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for me, particularly to have the Makgatho family, the Zondi family, and undabezitha unkosi mkhulisi, amkhulisi, wabathembu basesandanezwe who have taken time to come and be here with us, the Mase family, the Sisulu family. The list is endless of all the people that are here with us today. Your Excellency, President Zuma, I want to take this opportunity to greet the entire House at large. Good afternoon. Today, we gather at a very particular and exciting moment in that we are unveiling and opening the Makgatho Lewanika Mandela Primary School. Many people, Your Excellency, distinguished guests, have a tendency of, when they refer to me or when they introduce me, and even when they speak about me, they say Madiba's grandson. And often it is almost forgotten that I am born of a mother and I am born of a father. And as to according to our African tradition, you introduce yourself as Unyanaka, Dingunyanaka Nkosi Uzwelinzima Makgatho Lewanika Mandela. Lo ngaye namhlanje sivula esisikolo sithiwe ngaye. Kubuhlungu kum bawumongameli ngoba lenkosi mntu yakowethu ndithetha ngayo namhlanje ilele ukuthula. Ndikhumbula minenye ndandime kwiqonga sithetha ngayo siyoyityala kwindlu yayo yokugqibela. And I echoed these words, which my father instilled within us as his children. Stay away from drugs, alcohol, and substance abuse. And I want to echo those words today, particularly to the young children that will be building their foundation in this very school. Stay away from drugs, alcohol, and substance abuse, because many of our Madiba families have been almost destroyed because of such drugs and substance abuse and alcohol. We in our family have not been left untouched. And I hope those younger ones that come after us remember that those that paved our way left us with clear cautions to stay away from certain things. Dr. Chung, we were at the opening of the Mandela School of Science and Technology when you stood up amazed with this state-of-the-art facility built by Siemens at an investment of 100 million rands. You asked ourselves if we have a beautiful high school of this nature, how is our primary school? And instantly, upon hearing the challenges we were facing, you committed $3 million amounting just about 30 million rands. The funds that were put in the Mvezo Development Trust entrusted to the Mvezo Traditional Council and the Royal House of Mandela. We embarked with Andre Viljoen of SPP Surveillance and Consulting, brought together a team of building this school. And let me acknowledge the tireless work that led to this stunning achievement by Crystal Home Interiors, who have worked endlessly employing members of this community to ensure that today we are able to give birth to the Makgatho Lewanika Mandela Primary School. This school was a result of the government's rationalization program through the Department of Basic Education, where we had the support of the MEC's office, Makgatho, as well as the Minister's office, Mutsecha, who ensured that when we found Inkwenkwezi having low numbers amounting to 274, as well as Mvezo JSS amounting to 238, we were able to merge the school, and these two schools therefore gave birth to this primary school named after my father. My father's names as given to him at birth by Unkosi Udalpunga, our global icon and father of this young democracy, His Excellency President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, said, I bestow you these names, Makgatho Lewanika Mandela, because of a contribution of our leaders for the struggle for liberation. Makgatho was the second president of the ANC, hailing from Limpopo, known as Sefako Mapocho Makgatho, coming from the Makgatho royal family. He was one of the founding members of the African National Congress. His second name, Lewanika, was bestowed on my father of His Majesty King Lubosi Lewanika of Barotseland in Zambia, of the Lozi people. And King Lewanika was one of the honorary presidents who was at Mangaung in 1912 on the establishment of the African National Congress. And the third name, that being our family surname, Mandela, according to the ANC calendar, is to our 10th president, that being Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, who became the first president of a democratic, free South Africa. It is with honor and privilege, Your Excellency, that this school, the royal family, and the Mvezo Traditional Council felt it necessary that it be named after my father. In this same precinct, we celebrate the legacy of my father and that of my mother, who lives and currently leads Mvezo as the traditional leader, Umamunul Sap. We have named the preschool Early Childhood Development Center, which is adjacent to this primary school, after her, for the amazing work that she's doing in this community as a woman leading our community. Particularly this being Women's Month, we want to say, Wathinta abafazi, wathinta imbokodo, uzakufa fi, khokhele mamnol sapho. Sithi silol sapho, this for us is really an amazing achievement of ensuring that we put education first. We have completed what we set out of, inspired by Utatomkhulu Madiba Ufafo Kamandela, when he said education is a weapon one can utilize to change the world. We have built a kindergarten with Alimdad Foundation, and I'm happy to see representatives of Alimdad Foundation here in our midst today. It is a second early childhood development center they are building at a cost of 5 million rands. The first one was actually opened by His Excellency President Zuma in Mangaung when we celebrated our centenary being the African National Congress. They have now committed a second one here in Madiba's birthplace in Mvezo. We have built a primary school to enforce and ensure that young learners of this community have a strong foundation in honor of my father. And we have built the Mandela School of Science and Technology, giving an entire educational experience to young people of this community. We are having a close working relationship with the Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University, which has rendered us 2 items of our national anthem and the anthem of the African Union. We want to ensure, Your Excellency, that our kids are able to find themselves matriculating and being able to be admitted to higher education at the Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University. I can already commit that for next year, we will already as a community and the Mvezo Traditional Council sending about 30 students from Madiba's birthplace to do their higher education at the Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University. Distinguished guests, honorable members of parliament, I see other political parties are represented here. Actually, seen Honorable Nkwankwa seated there in the crowd of UDM, and those that I have missed out. I must say that with the funds, we have been able to build a state-of-the-art computer center with the assistance of the Department of Transport and the Airports Company of South Africa, AXA. They donated 42 computers and have ensured that this school has access to internet utilizing USASA, and we are greatly indebted to them for that. The computer center is named after our global icon, Unkosi Odalpung. We have also been able to fit a state-of-the-art library assisted by the Department of Basic Education at the Ministry's office, where they have been supported by Macmillan, which I felt it necessary to announce. They have fitted books in the library together with computers that will enable students to be able to access books on the internet. But we have also a state-of-the-art science lab in honor of King Lewanika. Your Excellency, honorable members of our government, it is with that excitement and enthusiasm I felt it necessary that I take time to speak about the achievement of this community. We continue to work tirelessly with Miss World, Beauty with a Purpose, and I'm happy that Julia Morley of Miss World is here with our very own Miss South Africa, who is now Miss World, Rolene Strauss. It's really great to have you in our midst. In 2007, we were able to lift 45 young people from this community to China, where they attended Miss World and performed in Sanya. And I am proud again to announce that this year, Miss World will be hosted in China in Sanya. And we hope that, Rolene, as you round up your year, you will definitely make South Africa proud, but make sure that you fly the Nelson Mandela International Day as a real symbol of Madiba's birthplace, of South Africa and Africa to the global community. Bathembu nabathembukazi olusapho lakowethu belinthume kangako sethe masibambe ngazo zimbini imphathi inkqubo kwelithuba siye salifumana. Enkosi.
Efondini kuyabonakala bafuneka nalo mtshini ngondulungise ngoba le ndoda imfutshane kakhulu Fondini ndimde kakhulu ngoku sofuna lo mtshini ndulungise ulungelana nami. Enkosi kakhulu Madiba. Hayi ke abantu bakokwethu zonke ke ngoku formalities. Why are we here? Prayers, national anthem, we're finished with those. We're getting into the real thing now. And with everything said, ndiyafuna ukutsho ukuba it's nice to be here. Kumnandi ubalapha. Precisely because you've been told why you are here. And you can sense that we're not here in a funeral. We're here to celebrate. We're handing over officially this modern day facility to the community of Mvezo. And without sounding as if I'm jealous, I also gave him teachers to make sure that the children are taught. I also gave them books and furniture. Thank you very much. I know that you couldn't have said everything. Thank you, Madiba, for that. Right. Getting to the actual session now of issues. After the purpose, I want to say I'll be calling on Dr. Chung to give words of gratitude. But as he is coming, there's one gentleman from Mvezo who would have loved to share a poem with us. The name is Lewanika. Oh, yes. If the poet is ready, oh yes, come forward, sir. You know, as you are coming forward, in my standard 5 classroom, they used to teach us stand against the wall, and they say, break, break, break by William Wordsworth. And at this time, the teacher comes into this day and says, who is the author of Break, Break, Break? Yeah, we all raised hands, including the guys who sit at the back. They don't usually raise hands. And the teacher said, hey, it must be a simple answer. He started at the back, pointed one, stand up with confidence, stood up with confidence. You've never taught us, sir. You never told us. And all hands went down. Because to us, by William Wordsworth was just another line of the poem. I hope we're going to get a message. Thank you very much. Over to you, sir, with the poem.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I've been given 2 voices, so I'm not sure which one to use at this moment. Firstly, I'd like to give honor to our president and his honorable entourage. And I would like to formally introduce myself as a representative of the youth of this country. I think it's very important for us to understand protocol, which is what I will try to do in this moment. My name is Nicholas Tumelo Bering. I am South Africa's first urban edutainer. What that means is I've found a way successfully to amalgamate urban entertainment, which is the most influential form of entertainment, with education. So what I've done is I'll go around schools activating a pro-word program that is by the brand Lewanika company, which is what I and that lovely lady there work together towards. What our aim is to make words cool again, make reading cool, make a Sunday afternoon for our youth to be in a park with a book the most exciting thought again. This is something that I have taken upon myself to do on the basis that we are now surrounded by by information that tells the youth to do whatever they feel that the youth should do for the sake of fame, for the sake of relevance, and for the sake of standing out. Now, I'm here to offer an alternative, and I'm about to demonstrate that with my poem, Hope for Africa. It is a real honor to be here. I urge you now, old rock, to come and hear the magnum opus of a dilettante, to feel the vibrations of a youth hungry for ancestral knowledge, to witness the shift from the regime of mediocrity into the pool of excellence, black excellence, African preeminence. Here now a seated expression, a germinating desire rooted deeply in the soils of growth, watered by one word, and this word is hope. In the next 103 years, I hope for a new Africa, an Africa paved by our ancestors, and where with every success, we heal the blisters obtained from the long walk to freedom. I hope for a wise Africa, an Africa where we allow ourselves to grow, not simply to see the next African grow, but to help build the next African. I hope for an educated Africa, where the turning of pages to our youth will be more familiar a sound than the burping of champagne bottles. I hope for a God-exalting Africa, where we will see ourselves in every African as a mirror of who we can be through their success. I am officially South Africa's first urban edutainer. Thank you for your time.
Hey, another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. His name is Tumelo. You know, I listened to the rhyme and the alliteration. Hey. Yeah. Thank you very much, Tumelo. You are really a champion. And indeed, ladies and gentlemen, on a serious note, one of the challenges that our South African kids are facing is reading and writing. And therefore, any effort in the direction of encouraging learners to read and write. You know, the pleasure of reading a book and getting into the world of the book. As you read the book, the other one is coming closer to the other one to attack another one. You even hold your breath as you're reading, because you're already in that world. And I say, indeed, we must not deprive millions of our people the right to be able to read and write. And therefore, thank you very much, Tumelo, for the words of encouragement. Nani nonomnqushwana nani bancinane siyanikhuthaza bazali benzeleni intsoma abantwana bafundeleni incwadi yithi mabakufundele lonto iyabakhuthaza nabo. Do you know that ithi into ngoku engekakwazi uthetha kodwa ngothetha okunayo uyakuva ngokuthethayo nje bengakwazi ukuphendula nje. And therefore kubalekile bazali ba siluthathe oluxanduva loba singonozala. Enkosi kakhulu ke Bhutumelo. Ngoku ke uBhutumelo ke besiphakamisela uDr. Chu to give us a message of a word of gratitude. Dr. Chu, the lovely daughter is doing on behalf of the father. Look at that. Can you see that one? Come forward. You are also a doctor. Thank you.
The Honorable Program Director, His Excellency the Honorable President of the Republic of South Africa, President Jacob Zuma, Honorable Ministers and dignitaries present, Chief Mandela, traditional leaders, elders, and members of the Mandela royal family and the Aba Tebu clan, honored guests and friends, respected members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for traveling so far and gathered here today on the occasion of the opening of the Makgatho Lewanika Mandela Primary School. It is my honor to stand in front of you here on behalf of my father, Dr. Chung Hontak, my family, and then represent the Chung Hontak Foundation for being given the opportunity to give honor to a great leader of a great nation like South Africa. President Nelson Mandela is seen as a glimmer of hope, not only to the African continent, but to the rest of the world. He's not only was an inspiring global leader who achieved what no other man could have thought possible, he taught each and every one of us here today that through adversity, it will come a great achievement. Besides his outstanding political achievements, the president was also passionate about education and believed strongly that the education can bring change to life of those less fortunate like himself as a young man who came from humble beginnings. Don't forget that in his lifetime, how he has established over 200 education institutions around this beautiful country called South Africa. With the opening of this institution, we continue to tell the world that indeed education is the greatest weapon you can use to change the world. We continue to inspire and we pay our tribute to this global icon whom through tremendous diplomatic means had managed to break one of the arguably worst racial difficulties that ever can happen to this piece of land. Today, that legacy has given birth to another great story being told from the birth of a general man with great wisdom, the Chief Zwelivelile Mandela, who made all this here possible, just like his grandfather, has himself on a path of greatness. We commend you today, Chief Zwelivelile, for this amazing selfless work you continue to do for your community and in continuing to be a warrior that guides over the name and the legacy of your family. And this nation continues to be celebrated around the globe as a beautiful rainbow nation through his generous act. What we're here to celebrate another aspect today is the relationship between our countries, South Africa and China. What we see today is that the relationship has raised to another level because what concerns us today is not the BRIC, not economical collaboration, but the social development of this country, about this country's future, about our children who are here with us today, and they who will be the leader of tomorrow. One of the most valuable assets that a man can possibly contribute back to his country is to support its educational development. This is exactly what my father has always educated me with and what he always strongly believes in. Thank you. And with him, actually, my father, he shares a similar story with the Madiba. He was also born in an era when education was still a luxury to most of the children. But my grandfather, all the teachers around him back then, took all the effort to give him as much support as he possibly could. Without that effort, you will not see a great man today here standing in front of you and demonstrating how important education really is, and of course be my leading model in my life. He insisted that the charity should not only be done when a man has reached a certain circumstances, because work life is simply endless. And this very foundation who founded this school today was established already back then in 1998. Since then, it has carried out most of its projects related to education across continents and for all different age groups. At the beginning of the foundation life, the project mostly concerns with the students who are in need. When it comes to Africa, over decades ago, it was set up a scholarship whereby African elite students were sent to complete their tertiary studies or even through PhDs at the universities around the world, including the British University, the University of Nottingham. Through what we are having our school opening today, it marks another milestone for our foundation, and we shall hope more great projects like this in the future to come. And since then, educational charity path has developed much further. my father began to realize that building facility is simply empty if there are no good teachers to educate or to lead our next generation. This idea evolves itself into another collaboration to set up Mvezo Scholarship in 18 Chinese Normal University, which specialized in training teachers for the country, and in over a 14 years of life time frame. By the end of the project, it will be awarded over 300 professors and 41,000 teachers for our future generation. And besides involving with teachers and students, my father also founded a college within Beijing Normal University, and that is indeed the first one to introduce a new teaching concept to China, to cultivate the students to have both a law and economic degree at the same time. And in addition to English, each student are required to uptake another foreign language in order to fulfill their bachelor degree. And this teaching program has indeed aroused a very remarkable student performance. But last but not least, we should celebrate the children who are gifted with this campus with us today. You might not even understand anything I have been talking about, but all you need to take away from today is that everybody in this room cares about you, and you are also blessed to live in a country which loves you. Be kind to everybody you ever come across, and when you grow up, no matter where you are, do not forget your country and your motherland, which gives you such a precious gift to grow up. Thank you very much, everyone, for give us such a welcoming here. It feels like a second home now to come back to South Africa. Thank you. Encore and 谢谢.
Yes, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I was anxiously waiting that you might close with the Chinese language. You know, most Mandarin is coming, eh? And Ms. Chu, oh, you're with the president. Yeah. Dr. Chu, say. 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 Yeah. Oh, 3-5, okay. Yeah. At least I can do greetings. Dr. Chu, like ni hao. Yeah, ni hao. And I can do closures. Say. We must start preparing ourselves. At least it's one of the easiest languages to follow, Mandarin. Thank you very much, Ms. Chu. Now I'm going to ask the PE choir, because Shem, they still have to go back home, rather than just having rendered the national anthems. At least they must give us. Can you spend into Numan? Oh, okay. Sorry. The Nelson Mandela University Metropolitan University Choir. I'm getting corrected here. I'm sorry, sir. I belong to the old order. I still call it PE University. I'm sorry, it has changed now. Yeah, it's the Nelson Mandela Metropole University Choir. They're going to render, I've given them choice. They must choose the best for the day. Otherwise, as a program director, I can assure you, you depend on whether I decide you must come on the stage or not. So give us the best. Do the best so that we remember you. Yeah, thank you very much. As they are coming, bazawuphakamisa ke bantu bakokwethu inkulumbuso yephondo. Noko imini yethu noko wena ayimbanga apha exesheni ngokwezithethi. Ngoba inkulumbuso le yephondo izawuphakama yenze amagqabantshintshi yazise umongameli. And therefore, emva koko kube ngumongameli uvuthondaba losuku sibe silusongile usuku apha ngokwezithethi. So noko wena sibabanga kakhulu apha exesheni. That's why ndikwazi uyiphana la choir. As they come, ladies and gentlemen, I think you do recognize that the day is about education. And as I'm looking at the different speakers as they speak, I see education in action. Education in action. And you must keep in mind, the school today that we're handing over is a product of a merger process. Two schools came together. And remember, schooling is about having a learner at the desk. Now, so many things get to affect education, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just cite one, which is economical. Especially Tina, Eastern Cape, will experienced on that line. Our people struggled and brought democracy into South Africa. They've got a right to go anywhere where they feel they can live better. And unfortunately, places like the Eastern Cape, they are living either to Joburg or KZN or Western Cape. It's an economical question. But unfortunately, as they live, they move with their children, leaving behind small, scattered, unviable schools. So these are the challenges that we're facing. And I'm calling upon you, communities, bantu bakokwetu, to say, eli dabi alinawuqatyelwa ngurhulumente kuphela. Sonke sinoxanduva lokuncedisana ngoba isikolo awukwazi usikha ngetrektara silandela abantwana ababheke edolophini. So sakhile apha qha ngoku bemkile bazawufuna isikolo kulaa ndawo baya kuyo. So ndizama ukuthi ke kubalulekile ukusebenzisana kwethu uqinisekisa into yoba izikolo ezincinane siyasebenzisana sizisondeze ngoba into ebalulekileyo kukuba imfundo ilungelo lomntana liza kuqala. Right, can I hand over to the Nelson Mandela Metropole University? Thank you very much. Oh, choir. Thank you very much.
against white domination. And I have fought against black domination. I have carried the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal for which I hope to live for and to achieve. But, my Lord, if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
Hayi masiziphindeni bantakwethu masiziphindeni. Yeah. Enkosi kakhulu. Yes. We wish you all the best as you're gonna get on the road. Ngeni baphinda bantakwethu into ekunayo shem ikhona into ethi balungiselela ungena endleleni usondela lapha. Kaloku ngabafundi abungalibali. Kusafuneka bayoprepare le-exams neentoni. But ke also because ngokwe-program ngoku ndizawuphakamisa upremier uzawuthi ugqiba ukwenza ii-remarks zakhe abe secela upresident ezapha ngaphambili. So phakathi kopremier nopresident andizuba nayo enye item. That's why ndisithi ngoku ndivumeleni ndenze idolo. Idolo elizawuthi president silapha ebathenjini ngoku. Noko ke kubalulekile into kokuba abathembu ke ngabantu abanothando, abantu abanobuntu, endicinga kubalulekile into yoba noko ke ihlumela labo ngoba kaloku ke inkunzi president iphuma emgqikwini. Sikhe sifumane onomngqushwana bebetha nje i-local culture bakhe basitshalala nje noko basiphumbuza apho sikhoyo. Ndizawuthi ke ngoku ndithi hand over to the local youth culture. I mean asiyo ne-youth lena uyayibomba ngabantwana apha ngamapioneer la ento sadlala ukuqaphela ndikhulu ezi baleka zonke amakhwenkwe akabikho nkwenkwe akabikho ntombi phaa kulaa age. Xa kunethi imvula khula wonke umntu they get on the road to enjoy the falling rain. So we're going to hand over to them. Into emandi ke ngaba bantu ke bayathetha nje bona ba-express ii-feelings zabo abanaxhala loba ndiza kuthuluka endaweni ethile. Kwenzekile nengoma zabo uzawuba that ma'am, over to you. Ikwari onomngqushwana bangathatha indawo. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director of the program. Can we give these young children another round of applause, please? It's really it's beautiful. It is somewhat an indicator of how bright the future looks. And when all these are brought together, what a successful people we could be. Thank you very much, the Director of the program. Can I also just give respect to His Excellency, the President, who's amongst us, the Minister of Basic Education, Umama Unolsapo, Inkosi yalapha Mvezo, and all the traditional leadership, the MECs, all our dignitaries from as far afield as China, as represented by the embassy and Dr. Chung, the family from Limpopo, from our stalwart and the hero of our struggle, former President Makgatho, all the dignitaries that are here, good afternoon. I will not make any address because the President is here to address us. I should though say that we are extremely proud of today. This day should have been on the 18th to coincide with the International Day of celebrating the life and times of our only Nelson Mandela. But owing to circumstances, it was deferred to today. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for where it was difficult for you to be here that day. You gave us this day, and you are here amongst us. You have honored your word. Thank you very much, Mr. President. You were here, Mr. President, with us on the occasion of yet another celebratory event when we were opening the School of Science and Technology here in Mvezo. Today you are here to see the addition to that of yet another component to make complete the possibilities for learners from around here, truly that they have no longer the burden of the sky as their limit. In fact, the opportunities have been opened wide. It is only for them to grab them and utilize every avenue they have so that they can become better citizens of tomorrow in the true tradition, in the example that the leaders after whom the school is named, they can actually live and walk on their footsteps. We are at times victims of the success we make. We, however, must at all times be up to the challenge, comprehend with each of the challenges that that are before us. In that meeting, in that visit, Mr. President, you said, and I still remember, that education is not just a priority for government. Education is a societal matter. It needs all of us to dirty our hands to improve the quality of our education. And in that, you invited not only those within the sector of government, but also external, the private sector, business community. It is indeed very much encouraging, Mr. President, that we continue to come to witness events of this nature with the participation of the business community, making a contribution to making better the future of our learners. I would also want to acknowledge the Alimdad Foundation of the cooperation we have and the contribution they continue to make. It is left for us inside government to make sure that all the other enabling instruments, we make them available so that indeed these institutions become what they are meant to be. I want to assure you, Mr. President, that this environment shall not be short of educators. all the necessary educators will be here so that our learners here receive quality learning in the environment so provided. In fact, I looked around when I was here and I pitied that I was born earlier, because if I had born later, certainly I would even be a better person. I don't know, probably I would be elsewhere than where I am presently had I had those opportunities. Thank you very much. Once again, we will make this the success it should be. Kutweze ndazise umongameli. I really thought that it's somewhat a travesty, because kufuneka ndazise umninimzi kwakhe. It's such a travesty indeed. Kodwa umongameli wethu siyamazi ebelapha phakathi kwethu. It is highly unlikely, and I say this without any fear of contradiction, akukho namnye apha ongamaziyo umongameli. Hayi nje ngombona, kodwa ngokwazi izithukuthuku zokubila kwakhe. We are where we are. We are what we are to a very large extent because President Zuma continues to make that difference. Bendijongile apha that President, we have said to ourselves here, asuphinda ngoku sithi we are the poorest of the poor. No, it does not belong to us. We're very rich. We're endowed with things that can make us even much greater than we are. So, Mr. President, here is the community of Mvezo and the people from all around here. Here is the community of the Eastern Cape. Here is the community of South Africa. They would like to hear from you on this celebratory day in which we are here to see the opening of this state-of-the-art school. Can I invite the President? Thank you very much.
Siyabulela sinokho masizole. Mandiqale kulandawo ogqithe kuyo yokungabikho ngalamini kwakufanele ndibe khona ngayo. Ndixolise kuba ndandifana nomuntu omotshayo xa sekusiliwe sekufanele kusele kutyiwe bese ndithi mina hayi andikwazi kuba kunento ezindibambile. Ndibulele kuba nokho sakwazi ukuthi sithi ayiphinde ibekho le mini. Ndithi njani ndixolise kuloo ndawo kuba inkinga yabantu labo kuthiwa ngoomongameli, ungaze wena ucinga ukuthi bayabusa bashaya umthetho. Sishayela umthetho. Ndithi ndingazi kuthiwe nansi iprogram ithi wazibophela ngalamini. Sendaze ndayeka abantu xa bethi ndifuna ukukubona ndithi hoza kuba sendiphoxeke gqithi. Ndithi xa ndithi kuzubani kuthiwa awukho ngaloo mini. So siphethwe kakhulu. Sixa uthi uyaphendwa kuthiwa hlala phaya. Uthi uyahlala kuthiwa ayilunganga ngapha hlala ngapha. Kunama-dictator. Yiwo ke lawa ndibangela uba ndingakwazi ukuza ngalaa mini. Ayisotyala lam. Ke. Director of the program, Diba Inkosi Zwelivelile, Ndlunkulu Nolusapho Mandela, Perry of Mvezo Komkhulu, Honorable Premier Phumlo Moswale, Minister Angie Motshekga, the Minister of Basic Education in our country, MEC Ngandla Makhuphula, uphethe kakuhle lo mcimbi. Why ngathethi inyani lo mfo xa ethi tishara akawusixelelanga? Why nixelele phofu? Ecela. So tishara wathole answer right mos. Leyabe ifuna. OR Tambo Executive Mayor, KSD Executive Mayor, and other mayors who are here. In absentia, the family of King Lobusi Lewanika's granddaughter and grandson, who were supposed to be here. Mvezo Traditional Council. The Makgatho family who are here. Dr. Chung Hong Dak, the chairman of the Chang Hong Dak Foundation. The Reverend Mbete and Reverend Viga of the Methodist Church and other religious leaders present. Traditional leaders who are here. Members of the diplomatic corps, distinguished guests, Mozi walapha Mvezo wonke kunye namaphethelo. Program Director, it is an honor to be part of this auspicious occasion, the official opening of the Makgatho Lewanika Mandela Primary School. Today, we return to Mvezo to honor the gallant and indeed the giant whose umbilical cord is buried deep in the bowels of this village, the great statesman of our time, Utata President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, the founding president of our democratic South Africa. Madiba dedicated his life to the struggle for the liberation of this country, his people, and indeed the world. His humility, compassion, and humanity earned him the love and respect of the people of South Africa, Africa, and the world. Madiba's abiding vision was for a society where no person was exploited, oppressed, or despised by another. Madiba's life was dedicated to the building of a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous South Africa, and a just world order. Program Director, we are also celebrating the 25th anniversary since Madiba's release from 27 years of incarceration by the apartheid regime. We are therefore inspired by the memory of Madiba as we meet here today to take forward his vision of promoting education as a weapon of liberation. Any school that is opened in our country is actually a tribute to Madiba, as he loved children and wanted them to earn quality education for the betterment of our country. Today, we open this state-of-the-art facility with a name that honors three giants of our struggle: Makgatho, Lewanika, Mandela. Sefaku Makgatho was the second president of the ANC, and King Lewanika of Zambia attended the first and founding conference of the ANC in 1912 in Bloemfontein. It is, in fact, and a fact of great historical importance that the founding conference of the ANC was attended by leaders from beyond our borders and by traditional leaders who became honorary presidents of the organization. The honorary presidents announced at the conference were King Dalindyebo of the Abatembu, Mosiwa of the Barolong, Lewanika of Barotseland in Zambia, King Letsia II of Basutoland, Chief Khama of Botswana, and King Dinizulu of Amazulu. King Letsia and the people of Zambia are thus being honored as well today with the naming of this school. We're affirming our African identity and the fact that our struggle was also fought by Africans beyond our borders. Distinguished guests, the greatness of Tata Madiba will remain for a long time to come. One day, sitting with President Oliver Tambo in Mozambique, reminiscing about the struggle. It was tough. We couldn't see the way forward. We had to do everything we could to defeat apartheid. And then he says, Zoo, that's how he used to call me, Sibadala ngoku. Fanele siyeke nokho. Nithathe mfondini ke nikhokhele. Sigugile ngoku. Saying they are now old, they need to stand aside and allow the young blood. He says we have able young men in the organization. So I say to him, that is the biggest mistake we can commit. Rest assured, you will struggle until you are sitting down, you can no longer move. And I said, there has been generations in this country, and one of the generations was the generations of the traditional leaders that fought to defend South Africa. And some of them fought such battles that their names have remained to be household names in South Africa. They are no longer here. Ohinsa, Odalinjebo, Oskukuni, Omushweshwe, Odinga. And I said, your generation, we are the last generation that will liberate us, and your names will remain household names. And I said, you can therefore not abandon the struggle. What we are talking about is almost like abandoning the struggle. We are your soldiers. You don't need to run now. We do the running. And we were doing the running. And I said to him, among the names is people like Utata Govan Mbeki, Walter Sisulu, Tambo, Mandela. I did not increase the list. I shortened it deliberately. I'm making this point because Madiba had something that was unusual. He could see things that other people have not yet seen. Just like OR, by the way. Moses Mabhida said one day, Oliver Tambo is the brightest leader I've ever come across. He sees things 3 years ahead of all of us. Madiba, in his own way, had his own way of seeing things before everyone. The evidence of that is when two of them, Ukamela and Madiba, discussed the armed struggle when no one else was discussing it. They actually originated the idea and conspired to raise the idea in the National Executive Committee when no one was thinking we now need to fight. Madiba was already clear the time has come. And indeed, because they were complementing these two each other, Madiba raised the matter. And one of the best, almost the father of the correct theoretical policies and strategies, Moses Kotane. When Madiba finished, he went for him and said, this is adventurism of the first order, and attacked them. And he silenced them, and the meeting continued. When they were out of the meeting, Kamela says, Diba is up. We did not plan properly for this meeting. Senziputa by not convincing Kotane first. Because Kotane was the tenor of the weather. Wathi hayi Diba, hamba uyosela itiye noKotane. Umcacisele kakuhle uzayiva because uKotane can understand things. You didn't have time there to elaborate. And indeed, Madiba went and had a cup of tea with Kotane and explained the conditions. And at the end, Kotane said, Mandela, I now understand you. Raise the matter again in the next NEC. And the matter was raised in the NEC. Quite a number of people were waiting for Kotane to attack Madiba again. Kotane argued for the armed struggle, to a surprise of many who saw him before. Madiba OR used to say, when a person is difficult, you send Madiba. He turns people no matter how they were thinking. Now, I'm making this point because for Madiba to name his son out of these great leaders tells you the foresight. He understood that our struggle was not just the struggle of South Africa. In any case, at the establishment of the ANC, the entire Southern Africa was there. And these great leaders were great indeed. The fact that this king left Zambia to come to attend a conference here, it tells you the greatness and the thinking. But perhaps for the benefit of ANC people, let me say one thing about Makgatho. Makgatho was a leader of the ANC in the Transvaal. In Mangaung, he had the biggest delegation. He was leading a biggest delegation, but he was also nominated. There were 3 contesting people, among them Makgatho and John Dube. And John Dube was not even in the meeting at the time. The greatness of these leaders. Makgatho said to his delegation, I want to persuade you that we support John Dube, not me, so that John Dube becomes the first president. And he explained to them the work that John Dube had done, and his delegation agreed. Otherwise, he could have been elected the first president because he had the majority. But he, in a sense, infused something important, his majority, with leadership and the understanding of the ANC more than himself. Do we still have someone who can say so in our conferences? The critical thing, when Utata said, I've given birth to a young man, and gave him these 3 names, he was actually talking about unity in Southern Africa. He was recognizing that we are one people. He was making us not to forget the founders of the ANC. Hence today, the son of his son, Makgatho, Utata Wenkosi Uzwelivelile, today raises these names to national importance and Southern African importance. That's Madiba, who always saw things before we saw them. Because at that time, Southern Africa came together, and the traditional leaders played a role because they had been defending the country. And that's why the first structure of the ANC had the upper house and the lower house. And the traditional leaders were in the upper house. And these kings in particular had to be recognized. They were not the only ones who were there. Swaziland was there as well. This, therefore, is a historic day for us to reflect on our history, to know who were there, to therefore say, here is a school that is going to be like the fountain of knowledge to our young people, to our future leaders, but coined together by the great man who named his son after these great leaders. Today's official opening occurs when the new South Africa has come of age. We have already celebrated our 21st anniversary of the 1994 democratic breakthrough. Indeed, South Africa is a better place today than it was 21 years ago. Each year, we make progress in providing services to our people, such as water, electricity, better roads, housing, better schools, and better clinics and hospitals. These things, because we talk about them, at times we take them for granted. You don't hear this kind of vocabulary in many countries. In many countries, people see for themselves. We look after our people. We budget for them. The fact that we have not solved all the problem is because of the size of the problem. But we talk about our people getting the essential things in life. This year, we also celebrate the 60th anniversary of the adoption of the Freedom Charter. This historic document proclaimed that the people shall govern. This historic document on education, it unequivocally stated, and I quote, "The doors of learning and culture shall be opened. Education shall be free, compulsory, universal, and equal for all children," unquote. In my State of the Nation address last year, I said, education is a ladder out of poverty for millions of our people. Once educated, we are empowered. We are happy, therefore, that there is a huge increase in the enrollment of children in schools from pre-primary to tertiary levels. The number of children attending grade R has more than doubled. moving from about 300,000 to more than 700,000 between 2003 and 2011. A draft policy framework towards universal access to Grade R has been gazetted for public comment with a view to making Grade R compulsory in our country, thus giving our children a good start in life. $8 million learners are attending no-fee schools, whereas 9 million learners are getting nutritious meals at school, which are provided by the government to ensure that they do not suffer from starvation, and that enables them to perform well. The matric pass rate has gone up from around 61% in 2009 to 78% last year, and the bachelor passes improve each year. Through the annual national assessments, we keep track of improvements and interventions needed, especially in maths and science. To promote inclusivity and diversity, the South African Sign Language curriculum is now offered in some schools. We have increased our numbers of literate adults through the Karikude program from 2.2 million in 2008 to 3 million people. We have also been investing in teacher training and are reopening teacher training colleges to meet the demand of teachers. Siyaqhuba, siyasebenza sidlala, siyaqhuba. Abanomona kuphela but asiqhubi, and asinandaba nabo, siyaqhuba nje. To produce a decent learning environment, we have delivered over 370 new schools, replacing mud schools and other unsuitable structures around the country. That work continues. Program Director, a lot has been achieved, but a lot more needs to be done. While celebrating these achievements, we are happy the royal family of Mvezo, Komkhulu, has also decided that the children of Mvezo deserve better opportunities and better education. We wish all communities could do so. The Mvezo Komkhulu's focus on education is evident through the establishment and realization of the Mandela School of Science and Technology, the Nolusapo Early Childhood Development Center, and now the new Makgatho Lewanika Mandela Primary School. Indeed, we do have a good story to tell. And we congratulate Mvezo Komkhulu for putting the people first. in recognizing the extraordinary human achievement of the son of Mvezo. In November 2009, the United Nations General Assembly declared 18 July Madiba's birthday to be the Nelson Mandela National Day. In taking this bold decision, the General Assembly said the world must honor Madiba's birthday as a token of appreciation for his extraordinary dedication to the values of freedom, equality, world peace, and justice. In fact, it further called upon people worldwide to emulate Madiba's values of service to humanity and humility and passion. It is important to note that this was the first time in the history that the UN designated a day to honor an individual. It is such an honor for the Republic of South Africa and her people. The UN further asked the people of the world to set aside 67 minutes to their day to undertake a task that would contribute to the bringing joy or relief to the millions of disadvantaged and vulnerable people of the world. The only compelling reason that the United Nations agreed to set aside a day to honor the son of Mvezo was because of his role as a revolutionary leader who spent nearly 7 decades of his life in the struggle against white minority rule and for a free and democratic non-racial society. Madiba's greatness lies in the fact that he was a visionary, a democrat, and international political leader who exercised his influence and leadership with humility and respect for his colleagues and opponents alike. He was above all a man who was determined to fight all forms of discrimination, injustice, and inequality. It was this selfless service that earned him the recognition as a global statesman and the many accolades bestowed upon him, including the esteemed Isithwalandwe Siapalagwe, the highest honor that can be bestowed on the ANC leader, member of the Order of Mapungubwe, and the Nobel Peace Prize winner, among many of his accolades. In July this year, we marked the 60th anniversary of the International Nelson Mandela Day. It is within this context that today we gather here to renew our vow that our freedom is incomplete as long as sections of our society still remain vulnerable. The ground on which we stand today is a refurbished school which will further the ideals of Utata, who loved children and valued education more than anything else. Madiba put it succinctly in his world acclaimed autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom, when he wrote, and I quote, "Education is the great engine of personal development. It is through education that the daughter of a peasant can become a doctor, that the son of a mine worker can become the head of the mine, that a child of a farm worker can become the president of a great nation," unquote. Today, we proudly open this beautiful Makgatho Lewanika primary school to ensure that the children of Mvezo never become hewers of wood and drawers of water. We expect the next generation of Mvezo children to take up their rightful place in commerce, academia, leadership, and the advancement of human rights and dignity. We are indeed honored to walk in the shadow of a giant that was Madiba. We owe to him and his generation an immense debt of gratitude for sacrificing life and limb in pursuance of our liberty. We therefore have a historical duty to honor the ideals of Madiba and his generation through words, deeds, and hard work in service of humanity. We need to inculcate in our society that there is honor in hard work. There is honor in humility. There is honor in serving humanity. There is honor in sacrifice. There is honor in showing compassion. We must, through deeds, agree with ourselves that we will not let Madiba die as long as we live. President Nelson Mandela, the father of our nation and icon of our struggle, must never die for as long as the untold suffering of our people continue, and for as long as the ANC lives to create a better life for all. Together, we have come far to build the South Africa that Comrade President Nelson Mandela and his generation envisioned. Much has been done. However, much more remains to be achieved. The fulfillment of his pledge to liberate our people from the continuing bondages of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination must be the inspiration that guides our people during this time and beyond. In a moving tribute written by his comrade in arms a mentor, and a friend, the late Comrade Walter Sisulu. He wrote thus, and I quote, "In a world of the powerful and powerless, among decision makers and marginalized, among children, youth, and adults, he was at ease and at home, and he made each of us feel less disempowered and more captains of ourselves," unquote. In the memory of Tata, in the memory of Makgatho, in the memory of the heroes of our struggle, more importantly, in the memory of President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, it is my honor and privilege to declare the Makgatho Lewanika Primary School officially opened. I thank you.
Thank you very much. We can sit down.
Well, that is how we come to the end of this function, the official opening of the Makgatho Lewanika Primary School here in the village of Mvezo. Hopefully, Tommy, beautiful buildings, state-of-the-art equipment will indeed be put to good use, because with some of these problems at the launch, everything is just beautiful, and then it's a downward spiral from there. Things are not being maintained, equipment disappears. One hopes that that won't happen here.
But also just the provision of teachers, because in some instances we've seen this in several parts of the province where schools get the state-of-the-art equipment, but then you don't have teachers who are able to use them. And I think that's the greatest challenge that they will have to make sure that they correct, to ensure that they've got teachers that will be able to teach these kids how to use this equipment so that they can really equip them. But indeed, it is a proud moment here in these villages. I mean, you could see people inside, the way that they've worn the traditional garments to really show that how important this moment is for the education of the children of these villages.
One hopes, of course, that indeed the other remnants of the problems that we've seen in education in this part of the country will also take a leaf from this particular episode and ensure that they do not indeed fail the people, not only of this village, but of the broader province of the Eastern Cape and indeed South Africa. From me, Mvezo, it's a goodbye for now.
And Tammy Dixon, it's a goodbye. Thank you very much.
And the Chinese embassies, as well as the Chinese Consulate General in Cape Town, I'd like to extend warm congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. That was our SABC News reporters, Tammy Dixon and Mvezo at Mvezo, of course, in the Eastern Cape, for the unveiling of the new Makgatho Lewanika Mandela School there. Well, of course, what you've just witnessed was also a speech coming in from President Jacob Zuma. Well, welcome to PM News right here on SABC News. But before we get into our headlines and more updates on our stories, of course, for the day, let me just welcome, of course, my co-anchor, Mr. Colin Lemawan, of course, will be updating us on our business news. Good afternoon to you.
Hi.
I'm good. What can you expect today?
Well, look, right now we're still having our focus on the rand. It's still very volatile, but although it has strengthened quite significantly, but for a currency to go beyond the 14 rand mark against the dollar is something that was very, very shocking, which sent shock waves throughout the market. Trading has been subdued right now, with the traders being very careful in terms of buying, selling, and just leaving things as they are. But at the moment also the economy is not doing well. We saw figures that came out today. The GDP of the country declining by 1.3%. Now this puts shadow on the expected growth of 2% 2% that was expected. Remember that it was revised from 2.3%. Now, things are not doing well for the economy, especially the manufacturing sector, which is in a technical recession. But what we are doing this week, we'll be focusing on the manufacturing industry in terms of looking at how it has been affected by this global slowdown and low demand in the commodity prices.
Right.
We also will be looking at the currency as well as the job numbers. We have seen a significant decline in that department as well. So we will be having a significant coverage of the manufacturing